Good morning. It is a dreary August morning, kind of nasty out, but we're gonna go do some scouting real quick and kind of get going here. Come on, girl. Hey, she started. Let's go. It is late August here in Ohio. We are only a few days away from the opening day of dove season. We're gonna go check up on a dove field real quick that I scouted out about a week ago. I want to see if the DNR chopped it or not. If you guys are new to dove hunting and learning the basics, we're gonna go over that here in a little bit once we get back. So stay tuned for that. Well, that's what we're looking for there. Typically what we're looking for, you're either looking for sunflowers. That's typically considered number one. Number two is wheat. If you can find wheat that doesn't have double crop beans in it. Later in the season, you can find cut corn. Cut corn is a really good spot to hunt doves on, but depending on where you live and what time the corn comes off, it might not, the seasons might not line up properly. I know in Ohio, they have a December season, but most of the doves are already migrated out of here by the time the corn's cut. So it really doesn't matter. So mostly we're focusing on sunflowers and wheat the 1st of September. So this is a purpose-built dove field by the DNR. Let me kind of show you what you got going on. So they had grass growing over here that they just mowed down this week, and they've got planted sunflowers down a straight row, and you've got cover on both sides. You've got a tree line on either side. Now there's a couple different ways you can hunt dove out here. If you're by yourself and you're the only one in the field, I would highly recommend setting up in the sunflowers. Problem is, especially on opening morning, you're probably gonna have to take a spot in the tree line. It might get a little dangerous out here in the dove field. But if you have the opportunity or you're on private land and you can get in the sunflowers, I highly recommend that. But this kind of setup is what you can expect on DNR land opening day. They got a nice row down the middle here. A lot of guys might set up down that row so they don't have to actually sit in the sunflowers or the grass. But yeah, cool. That's kind of what I was hoping to find this morning. Let's go back to the house and I'll kind of show you some gear, and we'll show you how I kind of prepare and get everything ready to go. All right, we're back at the house. Let's go over some of the things that you're gonna need on your dove hunt. Number one, you need a shotgun, obviously. What kind of shotgun do you want? Do you want a single action? Do you want an over-under? Do you want a pump? Do you want a repeater? In my opinion, a repeater is the best way to go. What gauge? Doesn't really matter. 12 or 20 is plenty for dove. It's more than enough. You could even take a 28 gauge out, or even a 410 if you get excited, but with the ammo prices with 410, can't recommend that. I personally use a 12 gauge over under just because I think it's more fun. Single action can be fun if you're really looking on trying to get your accuracy in, knowing you only have one or two shots, whether that's a single action or a over under. That's kind of fun because you're a little bit more conservative on your shots. But if you're looking for efficiency and getting birds on the ground and have a good time, semi-auto is the way to go in my opinion. All right, let's talk shells. What do we use? And I'm just using standard 2 3/4 inch 7.5 shot. You don't have to get too complicated. If the package has got a picture of a dove or a clay on it, kind of like these double A's here. These are Winchester AA 28 gauge. 7.5 is more than enough. You don't have to get complicated with dove hunting. They're a pretty small bird. You don't need giant shot to get them down. Honestly, one of my favorite ones is the Remington Gun Club, because that's a very reloadable shell. So I've used that a lot in the past. Winchester AA's, they're just fine. Federal Top Gun, 7.5 shot. It's easy. So not much to say there on ammunition. It's pretty standard. All right, let's talk decoys. What are we working with here? This is pretty standard. This is the most popular probably dove decoy on the market. This is a Mojo. It is a very simple yet effective design with the spinning wings. The first time I used these, it really did amaze me how well they brought dove in. And the whole idea behind the flickers is the light reflecting off. It kind of appears like a landing dove, kind of, I don't really know, but anyway, it looks attractive to the dove, and the dove likes to come in and decoy in these things, and they just work amazing. Also, we have what's called a flicker. This is also a product by Mojo. Let me see if I can turn it on here. That is a product that you can set down either in the wheat or in the grass. Is another amazing weapon in your arsenal on the dove field. This is something that you can spread out farther through your decoys and make it look like you really got quite a frenzy going on. Over here we've got the traditional decoys. This has just got a little clip here. You can clip it on a branch, or you can have like a tee set up to where you can hook that on your tee and potentially hope doves come in. That has worked a little in the past, but to be honest, ever since running these Mojos, they're just so much more efficient at bringing birds into the decoys that I really honestly don't even use these anymore. Now, you don't have to have a bunch of decoys to go dove hunting. One Mojo or a couple flickers are more than enough to bring doves in. It doesn't have to be a lot. If you're running with a big group though, I like to spread these out. If you're all out in the line, we'll spread these out and make it look like a pretty decent group of doves are feeding. So that's why I have so many numbers. But these flickers, it's incredible how well these flickers work. These really do bring in the doves, but the Mojos are absolute game changers. All right, let's talk about chairs. Again, doesn't have to be overly complicated. You can go with the traditional bucket with a seat lid. These things work great. You can put shells in the bottom. You can carry your dove out with them. This is one I've had for quite a few years that I like. Just a little itty bitty little foldable chair that I can collapse and put on my backpack, and that works really good for sitting in the brush. This one has a nice swivel on it. This is really nice for when you're sitting in those sunflowers and you can make a quick swivel. You can use a lawn chair. I don't recommend it though, because you sit a lot deeper into a lawn chair, and a lot of times you find yourself jumping up to either make a shot behind you or beside you to your offside. So a chair where you can get out of or swivel in really quickly, that is honestly the way to go with dove hunting. I guess something else I can touch on, something to carry your Mojos in. This is one of the biggest complaints about these things is like, how do I carry my Mojos? Well, I'll show you how I carry mine. Quick, see if I can do this one-handed. So these Mojos come apart like that. Put those in there. And I've got this long bag. I forget what it was for. It looks kind of like a lawn chair bag. It was for something else, but it's got like pockets on it and stuff. So I can put my wings down in here, and I can just lay these in there just like that. Close it up, and it's got a strap. So I can just put it over my shoulder and run with it. And I've used that the last 3 or 4 years, and that's worked pretty good. I guess the last thing to touch on is just make sure you read your regulations and figure out what's legal and what's allowed. And most of the time, you're only allowed 3 shells in your gun at a time. Some states require you to wear hunter orange. Some states don't care. So just make sure you're legal, especially on public land. On opening day, if you're on public land dove hunting, there's a good chance you're gonna get checked, about 90%. Anyway, you're pretty well set to go dove hunting. Leave a like, subscribe. We got a lot of seasons opening around the country. Midwest here, we're getting pretty excited for September 1st. Comment on the video if you liked it. Comment on the video if you didn't. I don't care. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one.